Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at XRP, so liquidity, and the Sigma coin. So a couple different ways that I've been monitoring this kind of price action here. So we have our 5-wave move off the lows, and this whole region has been a curious chop zone that I'm going to give you two different thoughts on how we could possibly play out of this move here. So first, this scenario that you see here on the market cap chart, and the reason we're using the market cap chart is you can see we'd have back tests of support through different wave counts where they don't cross on the 1s and 4s. But whereas if we go over to our XRP price action, we'll actually see crossing of these wave counts here. For example, this one and this one cross here on the XRP price action. But then when we go to the market cap, we end up seeing that this one right here and this one do not cross. So that's helping us kind of get a better feel of the wave count. And now this is where we ultimately ended up seeing this kind of breakdown here. So now the question is, we've been monitoring, and we're going to zoom back to this, we've been monitoring or thinking that we have this ABC to the downside of the region, giving us a back test of these lower lows before sending. So we're in the middle of the range now. We boxed off this area of interest. Here is the 618 fib, perfect, beautiful tag, wicked through and just reclaimed the whole region. Now we're coming back up to this fair market value, and we have a liquidity gap. So we've got gap all up in here, all the way up to this region, back up to the underside of this potential wave one. So scenario one that we have here is that this was a flat where we ended up having an ABC down, ABC up, and now we're going to be looking for 5 waves down. And in this scenario, we're going to be seeing a 1, because this is impulsive, right? A 2, and then this would be a 1, 2, 3, and then this moves back up here for wave 4 into supply, closing the liquidity gap, and then we swing down one more time, giving us a wave 5 that goes a little bit lower, wrecking everybody at the last moment and freaking everyone else out, and maybe even coming down in here and grabbing this area at the 786 region. So this is something I could see happening for completion of the 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of wave 3. So we could actually even roll over even more. So let's actually adjust this. So we would have this wave 5 come down here. Then we would have this wave 4 move ultimately back up to here. But this wave 3 would actually chop up this region and then come down one more time. So we would have all the way up and all the way back down for wave 3 to make this count. So that's one way I'm looking at the count right now. So basically, be ready, be expecting a lot of chop and expecting a lot of massive, basically the market just messing with everybody. So liquidity wise, we have liquidity sitting here at the 12-hour at the price action of 2.91. If we zoom out a little bit further and we go to like a 3-day, for example, the liquidity on the shorter time frames here is to the upside. And actually, I think it's a 2-day. Let's see what we got here. If we go to the 2-day, we can see that, yes, there it is. The 2-day, the liquidity is all up here at the 301 through 306 region. So knowing that we have liquidity right here, there's the 2 paths. So we go back to our 2 paths here. Oh, sorry, there we go. All right, so we've got 5 waves up, ABC down, large ABC that ends up getting us back down to the area lows, with a wave 3 messing around with doing a very big choppy region through here like that. Okay, so invalidation is crossing up into this region here and getting back into demand, because so this is scenario 1. Okay, this is scenario 2 now. We'll just move all this over to the side. So scenario 2 is that this right here ends up being a larger version of the flat, but a little bit different. So instead of it being a flat that comes down or starts here, we move this 5 over. Okay, then we're going to end up seeing a ABC down for this region right here, and then we have an ABC up right here. And now in this scenario, this is your flat topping structure. And this is actually a completed 5th wave that's already done its job, okay? So we've already gotten the full 5 waves in here. And you can see that by the falling wedge here, it's kind of fairly balanced. This can still play and count and check. And so we're impulsing out of here. So how do we trade this, right? So we say, okay, well, basically we have longs that were established in this region down here. We're breaking to the upside. We know liquidity sits right here at this fair market value. We know liquidity sits on the liquidation heat map into the 292 region. The question is, will we make it up to 301? So 301 is really the question mark. If we can get back up above 294 from that low and validate it and do it here on the market cap chart, getting back into this region, and this was kind of a wick, this is the count. If we're unable to make that happen and we can't do this, then all of this funny business here that we just did is the count, where we end up doing a really wide swinging wave 3 and then roll over for that one more wave 5. So these are the two universes. So the good news is in both scenarios right now, up is the way. So we're going to basically have, let's see if I can find my tools here for, nope, doesn't matter. Well, anyway, up's that way. And so we have up is the way. Here we go. We'll do that. Up is the way for this one, because we're going to come in and we're done, right? And that was it. And in this scenario, up is the way for this wacky wave 4, where we would come back up to the region and break down again one more time, up and then down one more time. So in both scenarios, up is the way, and that's where ultimately the bet is going to be played. So now you're just going to want to kind of go in here on the shorter time frames, and we're going to be looking at just kind of, watching price action, seeing how we move out of here. We've got a beautiful head and shoulders, or so it's basically a low, a lower low, a higher low, and this is a potential move to the upside. So areas of interest are to watch here at 294, watch here at the 295, and if we can get back into this area here and close this volume gap and maintain this as support, then we know we've done it. If we roll over and we break down, then we know we're there. So basically tight stop losses on the way up, and giving us the ability of this first attack at 291 and see how we react here at this region. So now what's interesting ultimately is we have the overall market turning green together, right? Bitcoin continues to grind towards its new highs, right? So it established a new high, came back down, established a new high, rejected, retraced it, lost it, and it did it in a flat-like structure, and it's come down. Now we're grinding back out again, and the question is, can we get back up into this region and clear a new high? And I think if these highs continue to be cleared and we continue to push upwards, you're going to see a high likelihood that things are going to start waking up across the board. And in our two scenarios, this would be the one that we just did, and we're out of here. Scenario 2, this one would be as if we can't sustain any highs for Bitcoin, it just keeps chopping or consolidating. So but with this, we have the Sigma coin, right? So the reason I like to definitely look at the Sigma coin here is that we have been working our way back up into this wedge pattern area here, where we've been consolidating massively. We're currently outside the deviation of the wedge, which can happen, and ultimately this will start pushing back up into this region here, and then ultimately even higher from there, where we end up breaking out of this kind of like spring event, so to speak. And the fact that this is still holding very, very well in this region, working to reclaim this, makes me think that of the two scenarios of what we're playing, we very well may have the version where we continue higher back into the range, and then we're out of here. So really just the answer is tight stop losses, look at liquidity. We have liquidity here. If we get back up into this region or into the 301s, then we know we've done it and we can continue onward. But if we don't, then expect one more rollover. So hopefully that was helpful today, and we will check in tomorrow, and thanks so much for watching.